Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 106 of Brew Talk with Mr. Beer. My name is Robert Lewis. I will be your host once again for today's show. As always, we appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in, watch our weekly videos. Hopefully they're informative and you're learning something new every week, or it's a good refresher for you every week. If you want to reference our notes for this video or any of our past videos, I think the best place to find those will be on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog. You can just find all the written notes on there and a bunch of other different articles and recipes and all kinds of fun stuff that we've been doing. So make sure you check that out. So let's dive into today's topic. Should be a pretty short episode for you. I saw this question in the Facebook group a week or two ago, and it kind of made me wonder about it, and I thought it'd be a good video. So the question is, what happens if you add too little or too much water into your fermenter? Obviously, that can happen when you're filling things up. Sometimes, you get a little heavy and the water goes a little too much in the fermenter. Sometimes you get a little light and the water's a little bit low. So I thought it'd be good to address the impact that could have on your beer. And honestly, for the most part, it's not going to have that big of an impact on your beer unless you're going like way over or way under. So if you're talking like a quarter gallon to half a gallon over or under, then that will impact your beer. But if you're slightly over, slightly above, you're not going to worry about it. But I want to talk about, I guess, each of the effects if you have too little or too much water in there. So if you go slightly under in your water, your beer your beer will be a little stronger than normal. The original gravity will be higher than what you would normally see or what we list on the website. And the ABV of the beer will be higher, obviously. Also, the beer is going to be more malty than it would normally be. So with less water, you're going to get more of those malt flavors in there, and it might dilute some of the hop flavor as well. So it's going to be a very malt heavy beer, very high in ABV, and just very intense. So if you're wanting to, try something and experiment, and you want a higher ABV, you can add a little bit less water. You're going to get less beer, obviously, in the end, but you're going to get a stronger beer. And if you go a little bit over, your beer is going to be a little more watered down, as you would think. So your original gravity is going to be lower, your ABV will be a little bit lower, and you're going to lose some of that maltier flavor in your beer. So if you wanted to have a beer that was truly like a very light beer that had less maltiness, you could always add a little bit more water. Just make sure you got enough bottles to bottle all that. But yeah, for the most part, they're not going to have a big impact on the final result that you're brewing unless you're going like a quarter gallon to half gallon above or below. But I mean, if you want to experiment, it's a fun thing to experiment with and try some different things. If you're going to brew a really strong beer, you could add a little less water and use a can or two and see what happens. Get a little wild there. So it's fun to play with that stuff. Sometimes go mad scientist. When we've brewed smaller batches in the LBKs before, it's not really recommended to brew like a gallon batch in there because the head space, it just has a lot of open area in there. But if you're just reducing it by like a quarter gallon or a half gallon, you should be good. I wouldn't think that would impact your beer in a bad way, or you could get potential off flavors. But if you're only going to brew a gallon, then I'd recommend doing like a gallon jug and experimenting that way. But yeah, it's going to wrap it up. Like I said, it was a quick topic. It was a question I saw that kind of piqued my interest, so I thought I would address it. So to kind of recap, if you're a little bit over, a little bit under, it's not going to impact your beer that much. If you're going, a quarter to a half gallon, either way, it will impact your beer. Your beer could either be stronger and more maltier, or it could be less strong and a little more watered down. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a like. We really appreciate that. Make sure you're following us on all social media platforms. We are at Mr. Beer on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And if you want to learn more about Mr. Beer or brewing with Mr. Beer, join our Facebook group, Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. You can find that by just going to Facebook, searching Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. And please answer the 3 questions, and we will make sure we let you guys in. That is going to wrap it up for this week, and I will talk to you guys next week. Cheers.